Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again to the channel. Today we have an interesting one. I'm just going to kind of compare the Rings of Power. I was nearly going to say the Lords of the Rings of Power, but I'm definitely deleting the Lord of the Rings part out of this. So the Rings of Power, I'm going to compare that to House of the Dragon, especially after watching the 3 episodes. Obviously, no, actually, I've only watched the 2 episodes of House of Dragon, and I'm comparing it to the first 2 episodes of Rings of Power. I'm trying to watch them in sync here so I can kind of compare the two. Both are prequels, obviously. Obviously, one is only about 170 years before the other one, or maybe 180, 190 years before the other one, and the other one is obviously thousands of years before. So I'll jump straight into it here. But if you do want to support the channel, please subscribe below the video there. Also, leave your comments in the section as well. I'd love to hear your feedback and what you think as well, and also like the video if you like it. So we'll jump into it. As you can see here, obviously, The Rings of Power with a 6.8 rating. It's on IMDb, and take a guess who owns IMDb. Yes, Amazon. So obviously that's why it's a little bit of a pretty good rating on there, right, I guess? Whereas in The House of Dragons, 8.8. Like, great rating. And it's pretty well deserved, to be honest. I'd probably give it so far probably I'd say about, yeah, 7 out of 10. Probably 7.5 out of 10. Where The Lord of the Rings, I'll give it The Rings of Power, I'll give that probably 1.5. The only reason why I'm even giving it the 1.5 is just for the pretty good CGI that it does, and also the dwarves, they did it right. But then, obviously, you can see here on the Rotten Tomatoes, 85%, 85%, 84%, and 89%. Isn't it funny how, for some reason, the critics and the audience can never seem to match, right? Because they always pander, and, a lot of people are saying it's review bombing, but it's really not. I mean, imagine if you grew up with The Lord of the Rings, or you grew up with something your whole childhood, and you read the books, you read all his tales, all that stuff, this world he builds. I mean, languages he's written, all this stuff from Tolkien, and then for the show to call itself The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, use his name, and then absolutely disregard everything about it. The main character, all that stuff. I mean, the setting, just everything about it is just a spit in the face to Tolkien, in my opinion. It just annoys me that they try and change everything. I just don't understand why everyone has to think I can do what you wanted to do better. It's like, no. This guy is that creative. He sold in that era the amount of books, the amount of languages it's been translated to, and this is from that era. You don't have the resources that you do now. And for him to do something so good, there's a reason why it has this power behind it, right? But they always think that they do know better. But I'll digress. I'm going to compare a couple of the characters, right, for you. And obviously, there's the 3 main characters there. And I'm just going to show you how the characters are so different. I'm just going to compare the main characters for you guys real quick. All right, so we have Galadriel, obviously from The Rings of Power. Whereas in reality, the way she was written is she's a lady. She rules over lands. She doesn't quarrel with little battles and things like that, or try to, run different armies and things like that. She's better than that. That's what she is. She's becomes the most powerful elf. All right? Just to put it in perspective, this is what they make her look like. Armor on, sword, things she wouldn't do. And the funny thing about it is this is supposed to be like, the ashes of a, battlefield type of thing. And look, you can see her kind of there, but then just perfectly straight, like eyebrows, just little like dusted on her. It just, you got to choose one or the other. Make her look really gritty, or you got to make her look like a lady. It's one of the two. You can't try to do both. And then obviously with her, Princess Rhaenyra, obviously you can see she's a lady. She acts like that, but yet again, in the show, she is very Daenerys Targaryen like, right? She's very powerful, strong in what she does, and she believes in what she believes in, and she wants to get things done herself. Whereas with her, with Galadriel, who's supposed to be even more powerful, she just seems whiny and, just like an annoyed little kid instead of seeming like a lady, right? This is just the main characters, and if you already don't like the main character, that already shows that you're not going to like the show. And straight away, even just from the first episodes, if you compare them, the pacing is just so much better in House of the Dragon. Like, draws you in. It draws you into the characters. It makes you wonder, why is this character like this? And also, you learn way more about the main characters in House of the Dragon in the first 2 episodes. You already know what type of person they are. Whereas with The Rings of Power, you don't. You really don't. The action that you do see in House of Dragon, you feel like it actually means something to the story. Whereas in The Rings of Power, it's kind of just made. It's just made up. You can tell it's not going to mean anything in the long run, in my opinion anyway. Now, probably the main male characters, I believe, will be for the show. Obviously, knowing a little bit what will happen in House of the Dragon, obviously, because of the books. Obviously, here's Elrond. Supposed to be also like a ruling type, like a powerful male character, right? And this is what they came up with. Little curly haired, too young looking, in my opinion. Just not strong enough facial figure for the character anyway. And the acting portrays the exact same thing. He seems weak. Doesn't seem like Elrond, Lord Elrond, right? Doesn't seem like it at all. And then whereas with this casting, yet again, by House of the Dragon, great casting, strong, powerful, kind of tough looking face, portrays the character very, very well, draws you in straight away. It's just, the difference is just so intense, and that's what makes it so sad, because Lord of the Rings, as I said in previous videos, I watch it every year, the extended editions. Me and my brother, it's like a religious thing we do every year, and I also read the books probably once every 2 years, I'd say. I read all the books, and also listen to the audiobooks at least once a year. Obviously all of Tolkien's works is, so it's pretty sad when they mess something up so bad, and then the other show that came out around the same time just absolutely stomps in it, which I'm happy it's even there, because then at least I can watch that, right? But all in all, Daemon is portrayed very, very well in the show, whereas in Elrond, yet again, not very well. Now we jump onto the kings, right? So the High King himself, High King Gil-galad, right? This guy is supposed to be all-knowing, powerful, strong, smart, and he comes off as someone who doesn't know what to do and just wants to say, no, we know that there's orcs, but no, we're just gonna believe that it's not there. It's like, he knows better than this, and they make him seem stupid, which is annoying. Whereas with King Viserys, he's played quite well yet again. I mean, all the characters so far that I've seen in House of Dragon, it's been played well, and it's been cast very well as well. And all the people that keep saying, oh, all the review bombing is because people don't want to see people of color in the shows and everything like that. Whereas that's not true to me at all. I believe it is literally really did review bomb things like this because of color, right? Then why isn't House of Dragon tanking? Because they added people of color, and they did it very well. Like, no one's complaining. Lord of the Rings, I'm not complaining about any of that either. It's literally just that the House of Dragon is sticking to the lore more accurately and more correctly than the Rings of Power is to Tolkien's work. So that's where I believe the big difference is. And yeah, it's very, very frustrating that this is what we got to deal with, right? But yes, just to kind of finish with the 2 first episodes comparison, House of Dragon very well drawed me in. Makes me actually want to watch the next episode and see what's happening, even though with knowing the books, I already do know what's happening, but that still interests me more than the Rings of Power, where I actually don't know what's happening next, even though I've heard of all the spoilers and all that stuff that's actually going to happen. But obviously you don't know what happens in each episode, and I still care more about House of the Dragon. That's really what makes it sad for me, is that they messed it up that bad, that I'd rather want to watch House of Dragon instead of something that is from the Lord of the Rings universe, right? Supposedly. We'll see how it keeps going. We'll watch episode and we'll compare it again, and we'll wait until the next episode of Rings of Power. Let me know what you think in the comments, please, and also subscribe if you do want to watch future videos, if you want to follow this journey where I compare the episodes again. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.